Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined in the studio today by Craig Burley and Stevie Nicol. We also welcome Mark Ogden. It may surprise you to learn that we do actually have meetings for this show, and I remember one 6 months ago where I was told that we were going to discuss the possibility of Marcus Rashford going on loan to Barcelona, and I said, what's the point in doing that? Are we really struggling for content that badly? Yet here we are, 6 months later, and it's actually happening, Mark. What?
Well, that's two lies.
What do you mean two lies?
Because we've never had a meeting.
I have meetings, you don't.
You don't have meetings. You might have the odd phone call.
Well, what is a phone call?
A phone call?
It's a meeting.
It's not a meeting.
A phone call is a meeting. No, not a Zoom.
A meeting. A meeting is what all these other shows do.
No, a meeting is, here's what we're doing today, right? Okay, yes, good.
And that's the meetings that, sorry, Augie, that is the meetings we like. We don't like these formal meetings.
But that is a meeting still, right? That's one thing. What's the second lie?
Anyway. Sorry?
What's the second lie?
What do you mean?
You said that's two lies.
No.
What was the second one?
No, you did. Come on.
No.
You did. Okay. Don't lie. You
Right,
did.
we're live. Right, Mark, it is happening.
It is happening. United and Barcelona have agreed a loan deal, season-long loan deal, with an option for Barcelona to buy, not an obligation, an option. And Barcelona are going to cover his wages, which will amount to about £17 million a year. So obviously we know that Barcelona have got problems in terms of getting players in terms of signing them, registering them, but a loan deal makes it a lot cheaper for them to do that. £17 million over a season is not a bad deal. They missed it on Nicol Williams. They tried and failed to get Luis Diaz from Liverpool. So Rashford is probably the third choice. But it's a perfect deal for everybody. It's perfect for Marcus Rashford. It's a deal that he doesn't really deserve. For Man United, it's great. It gets him off the books. It sends him to a club that will keep his level and his reputation high because it's Barcelona. And for Barcelona, they've got a player that they think they can get the best out of, rehabilitate him, and it's fairly cheap. So he'll have a medical the next couple of days, and it'll be one problem solved for Ruben Amorim and Man United.
He's one to watch, isn't he? Oh. Marcus Rashford, whether he plays...
Barcelona.
Sorry?
Barcelona. Like everyone's... Like he says
I thought they wanted Luis Diaz, they wanted
Barcelona really a winner in this
Coming
deal?
off the bench now.
Right.
So
Well, you've got to look at it, right.
that's how you've got to look at it the right way.
Again, at times at Aston Villa, he was...
Okay.
Okay, he sparked into life. It wasn't always consistent, but he looked more like his old self at times. Surely to God, this is the hammer that hammers at home. That this is. I'm getting a chance to go to Barcelona here. I've been poor at Man United.
Right.
I've been basically jettisoned at Man United because of my attitude, because of my performances, all those sort of things. And he gets a chance to go to what? One of the best teams, not just biggest clubs, but one of the best teams. I mean, they had a super season last year. They made a mess of it against Inter in that semi-final. They really should have been in the final. They were good enough to do so, but defensively they were naive. And here Marcus Rashford gets a chance to go to this team where Hansi Flick has come in, signed a new contract. They've been brilliant. They've played some great football. And they need to beef up the bench. One of the questions is, with the likes of Ansu Fati on the bench and one or two others, is Rashford better? And I think the answer, unfortunately for Ansu Fati, because he's spluttered over the last couple of years, goes on loan to Brighton, doesn't really play, goes back, isn't really fancied by Hansi Flick. And I think Rashford is a better option. The problem he has is if Rafinha doesn't play in the 10 role, if Rafinha continues to play in that wide left, nobody's dropping Lamine Yamal, not happening. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's arguably best player in the world last season, and Robert Lewandowski down the middle. So it's an opportunity, but really, unless something happens, it's going to be a lot of sitting on the bench. But that's better than training at 5 p.m. with a couple of the other duffers that are not wanted.
I mean, I guess everybody's a winner. Let's be honest, isn't it?
I don't know. If I'm a Barcelona fan, I'm hearing my team are linked to Williams, they're linked to Diaz, and we can't get them, so we're getting Marcus Rashford?
Well, it's the situation you find yourself in that getting Rashford actually is going to be okay. You got to look at the big picture.
Are there not better options out there?
Well, obviously not. I mean, you're not the only person that doesn't think Rashford's right now worth the money that they're going to be paying him. None of us think that, but Barcelona find themselves in a situation where this is the best option. So whether Barcelona fans love it or not, this is a good situation for everybody. The one thing I don't like about it is it gives you a bad taste in your mouth, because Professional football is a tough business, but you know what? Sometimes you've got to earn your luck, and he hasn't earned it. And he's a lucky, lucky boy. From a professional point of view, he doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve to be going to a great club like Barcelona the way he's conducted himself over the last 12 months. And even when he went to Villa, as Craig said, he wasn't particularly great.
That's quite damning, Stevie. What in particular frustrates you about this?
Well, what can we sit here and say, you know what, Marcus Rashford has done everything to try and make himself on the field a success with either Aston Villa or Manchester United. Maybe a little bit more Villa, but with Manchester United. And it's 100% no. 100% no. He absolutely has done all the wrong things, has said all the wrong things, has acted in the wrong manner, has been unprofessional, being in Ireland the night before training and all, and then
drop your sheet.
No, it doesn't matter.
You've dropped it.
Everything he's done has been so unprofessional that, you know, we as professionals will stick up for each other unless you're out of line.
Right.
And I don't think there'll be many pros now or former pros sticking up for this guy the way he's acted, and he doesn't deserve to be going to a great club like Barcelona. But as I started with, it's a situation that he's found himself in, as have Barcelona.
I'm looking at it from his perspective in Man United. I suppose we talked about Man United in yesterday's show and sort of scratching my head, thinking, well, they're not going to be in amongst the big boys because they're not spending on the best players, they're signing players. But I'm looking at it from their point of view and his point of view, what an opportunity this is. Now, from Barcelona's point of view, it's not the most glamorous signing, you know. And Stevie's right, he signed this new contract, huge contract after that great season at United. His attitude, let's be honest about it, his attitude was abysmal. You could go back and get any game, long before Ruben Amorim came in, when Eric Ten Hag was still there, you could go back and pretty much get any game, even at Old Trafford in front of his own fans, where he was sauntering around, walking around, not tracking back, not even trying to press the ball, not trying to make a challenge, on top of not really producing anything going forward. So, you know, his attitude has been appalling. He got this chance at Villa, which he semi-took. He has possibly got this amazing chance at Barcelona, which just is off the charts. Off the charts for a player who's performed in the way he has for a couple of years. The one thing I would say, and I'm not saying it's easier to go and play in Spain, I am not saying that, but you look at what, it's a different game in Spain to it is in England. You look at what Anthony was able to do at Real Betis. Anthony at Man United could barely get the ball from A to B. He couldn't, you never saw him beat a defender, you didn't see any end product, but somehow we saw a really good, positive side of Anthony at Real Betis, and maybe the game in Spain is just a little bit different, a little bit slower, maybe a little bit more technical than some of the teams in England, and it suited Anthony, and it may not, but it may suit Marcus Rashford. Look, we do LaLiga every weekend. We do Barcelona and Real Madrid and Atleti till the cows go home. We're going to find out. We are going to get the answer. And when we do it, we're not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. And I don't think anybody is. And so, you know, if this deal comes off, it's opening a magnificent door for a player, as Stevie said, that doesn't really deserve to be walking through that door. But when opportunity comes along, you've got to go and try and take it. And if he doesn't take this, then I do believe his career is just going to go down the drain. But he has an opportunity at the moment.
Mark, what do you make of the comments, particularly about his attitude?
No, I totally agree. I think he's sulked his way through the last 3 years at Man United, maybe even more. I mean, he had that great run after the World Cup in Qatar. He came and scored, you know, a lot of goals, and he earned his contract on the back of that. But he didn't deserve it. United panicked into giving that contract because they thought they would lose their homegrown player. And it was at a point when United, they've had some bad times over the years, but they were really on the knees at that point. It was the Ralph Rangnick period, and they were looking for a new coach. So they had to give Rashford a contract, they believed. But his attitude has been poor. He's not really embraced any of the, you know, Ten Hag's methods or Amorim's methods. So he does need to be moved on. And I think United have made the right decision. But I do think that La Liga will suit him. I think Craig's right. I think he's going to a league where he's got pace, he's got a shot on him, he's got a trick. And I think it will kind of give it, you know, he's 27, he's not old. It will give him that motivation to resurrect his career, to prove a point maybe. Maybe his ego, which is big anyway, he'll think, right, I'm going to prove that I should have been the main man at Man United. So there's a lot of positives in Rashford's direction here, but the guy's right. He hasn't earned this move. It is like winning the lottery, isn't it? He's wanting to go to Barcelona for a long time. He's got his move now. He won't start every week, as we know, but he will come off the bench. He's a player that has always had moments. He's been a moments player for 10 years. He does score goals in big games. And you can see him scoring in the Clásico. You can see him scoring against Atletico, having good nights in the Champions League. That's what he does. But it's the games when you need him to turn up and raise his game and raise the team that he doesn't deliver. For Man United, he would always deliver against Man City, against Chelsea, against Liverpool. But it was when he's playing against Fulham and Everton that you want him to appear, and he doesn't. And that will happen with Barcelona, maybe. But there is a player there. But it's been so long since we've seen it now that I think Barcelona are taking a gamble. But as we said before, at £17 million for a year's wages, it isn't the biggest gamble if it doesn't come off, because they can send him back to United if it doesn't work.
Given everything you said, Stevie, if you're Hansi Flick, do you have to treat him slightly differently? Do you have to be harsher on him, stricter on him? Or is it a case of clean slate and see what happens?
No, I think as a coach, you want to see the real player. You don't want to try and be clever. I think you just welcome him in and let him go.
Right.
See what he does. See if he is professional. See if he stops doing all the things that he has been doing. And then you decide. I don't think you sit him down and have a chat other than what you would normally do with anybody else. I think you just treat him normally and kind of give him a bit of rope. See what he does with it. Whether he takes it off or whether he, you know what.
There's not a player. There's hardly a player at Barcelona that Hansi Flick hasn't, I say made better. He hasn't coached these players to be. He hasn't coached Lewandowski or Yamal or Rafinha to be better players, but he somehow managed to sort of coax that out of them by the way that they've played, by the position.
Rafinha is obviously a great example of them.
Yeah. I mean, Lamine Yamal, his trajectory has just continued. But Rafinha was a player who was on the way out, who was had a bit of Ousmane Dembele about him, his former teammate there, inconsistency in this kind of area. And we saw just an amazing difference in this last year, it coming off the left-hand side, making these sort of diagonal runs in behind Lewandowski, who didn't really want to run the channels anymore. And he wasn't the only one. He got performances out of De Jong, and Pedri was brilliant, and Kubarsi and Koundé improved, and Balde, and all these players. But he was sort of one of the main ones. And then we heard the rumours in the summer that, or during the off-season, that he wanted to move Rafinha into this number 10 role, and whether it's Rashford coming in and playing in that position or not. And it all just seems a little strange that you've got this player who had the season of his life playing in the wider left area, and you are thinking about moving him into a position where the whole picture just changes. But what we can say is...
Don't you think that's been squashed?
He was brilliant. What?
With Nicol Williams not coming in.
But Rashford's coming in.
Yeah, but that's a different ball game, isn't it? Rashford to Nicol Williams is a different ball game. When you're Barcelona and you're struggling financially the way they are, and you're going to be paying 80 million for somebody, then whether you want to do it or not, you kind of have to do it. I would suggest that this changes how Hansi Flick thinks. Surely Hansi Flick's going to go, you know what? I can use Rashford to give Rafinha a break, or I can give Yamal a break, or I can use him through the middle to give Lewandowski a break, as opposed to changing the whole system for Rashford. I mean,
I don't think he was changing it for Rashford. He's changing it for.
Aye, but surely he's going to go back to what he did last year.
He's changing it to get Rafinha into the middle, because Dani Olmo came in, did okay, but has these consistent injury problems which he had at RB Leipzig. We talked about it when they signed him. Obviously, Pedri and De Jong were a formidable partnership as the season went along, with sort of Gavi on the outside. But it just seems, coming from Said and Alex Kirkland and others, that this is when Hansi Flick has had this in his mind. And I agree. I think it's strange to try and do that, but who are we to argue? He was so successful last year. All I would say is, if I was a player that had this season of my career like he did last year, playing in that position, I think I'd be a little reluctant to move into an area where, playing behind a striker, all of a sudden you've got one or two holding midfielders sat in front, as most teams do. They're sat in front of that penalty box, trying this, this block to stop the space. And when you're playing in that 10 role, as he may be if he moves, where's he going to find that space? So it's a wait and see. But maybe he'll move Rafinha, maybe he won't. I I don't know.